Episode 191. The Glazed Lands dungeon is a derelict castle full of winding corridors and branching paths. First-time teams often get lost. When grinding for experience, they'd intentionally take wrong turns to clear the whole map. But for a record-chasing dungeon team, the path was singular and unwavering, a straight shot to the final boss. They bulldozed their way forward. While Fenghua's performance still had a few minor flaws, they didn't affect the overall push. His combat remained fairly smooth. Trampling over the corpses of the minor mobs and the first two bosses, the party finally charged into the rear garden of Broad Castle. In this dilapidated fortress, only this garden retained a semblance of its former state, and here, awaiting the five of them, was the dungeon's final boss, the ruler known as Chuoya, Lord of the Glazed Lands. Even if the run-up to this point was flawless, this final boss Chuoya remained a variable that could decide the entire outcome. Ultimately, it's because this boss, Chuoya, possesses an immense arsenal of skills. He's a freakish amalgamation of multiple classes. More skills mean more tactical options, with its AI making completely random decisions. Chuoya is one of those rare NPCs for whom no fixed kill strategy has ever been pinned down. Every fight with Chuoya is a new experience, and a big part of the kill time comes down to luck. It all depends on what kind of performance he puts on in the moment. But against an opponent like this, at least they save time on tactical discussion. This was a test of the players' on-the-fly adaptability. The moment they charged in, all five wasted no time. They saw Chuoya and immediately rushed him. Their individual positioning was somewhat similar to when they first entered the dungeon. Windward Rain and Windblown Smoke, the two ranged characters, each took up a high platform in the rear garden as soon as they entered. Windward Mist raised her cannon and fired a point blank at Tank Shell. They pulled the mob with lightning speed, amidst the smoke of gunpowder. Cursing in perfect Mandarin, Chuoya charged forward. He wore a scarlet leather jacket and pants, a chain hanging from his waist, his long hair a riot of colors. This Chuoya didn't look like the ruler of some glazed land, more like a rebellious youth bursting through the smoke. Chuoya's figure immediately flickered. He'd used a shadow clone technique. The decoy remained in place to draw the players afire, while the real body flashed behind wind, calm smoke, and rain. According to the system's interpretation of the shadow clone Jatsu, the true purpose of using this skill is for the clone to draw enemy attention, while the real body executes a stealth kill on one of them. But from a player's perspective, this was using a teleport to instantly appear next to his aggro target. A vicious move. Yet Maple's Mist, standing up high, seemed completely unaware. On the opposite platform, Fenghua was so frantic he wanted to shout a warning, but before he could open his mouth, the deafening roar of a machine gun erupted. Down below, Lord Grimm had already switched Myriad Manifestation's umbrella to its gun form. A Gatling gun barrage roared toward Chuoya on the high platform. Toya, poised to strike at Windward Mist, was instantly pinned in place by the barrage of bullets that followed. Windward Smoke turned around just in time. He raised his hand and unleashed the gunner's aerial skill, knock, up, slamming his hand cannon into Chuoya and sending him flying off the high platform. Then, he leveled his heavy machine gun and unleashed a furious barrage at Chuoya as he plummeted. As Chuoya fell, Lord Grimm's Gatling gun tracked him, its muzzle dropping. The streams of fire from both guns painted two diagonal lines in the air, as if they were guiding Chuoya, escorting him all the way down to the ground. This kind of seamless teamwork was old hat for Tang Ru and Steamed Bun Invasion, but for Windward Formation, who had only run 3 dungeons with them yesterday. It was a sight he'd never seen before. Fanhua was left utterly dumbstruck.
If he hadn't been so stunned.
As a long-range attacker, he should have opened fire as well. Of course, with a target moving that fast, how accurate his shots would be was another question entirely. Cold Mist and Steamed Bun Invasion needed no prompting. They had already taken up their positions. Lord Grim and Dancing Rain's combined attack had just sent Toa tumbling down. Of the two, Tang Ru didn't wait for Toa to land. She unleashed a circle swing. Cold Mist's Crimson Moon spear transformed into a crimson streak, piercing Toa as he tumbled through the air. Then she leaped up, executing a powerful swing that slammed Tuoya hard into the ground.
Attack! Don't just stand there!
Attack! Don't just stand there! Ye Xiu's voice snapped Feng Huo back to reality. He quickly drew his gun and fired a skill at the prone Tuoya. Han Yanru and Steamed Bun Invasion pummeled the downed Toa, then quickly leaped back. They were dodging the classic boss move, the rising shockwave. Toya sprang to his feet and launched himself into the air, his leg lashing out in a kick aimed at Cold Mist. But before the blow could land, an energy sphere slammed into him, perfectly timed. The energy ball exploded on impact with Toya, blasting him back to the ground. This was the cannonball skill, a gunner's technique, and the only one who could have fired it was Sima Cheng. Meanwhile, the gunner was already gathering energy for another laser cannon. This time, however, the grounded Toya deftly performed a quick recover, avoiding a full-on tumble. He rolled to his feet and instantly launched a spinning kick, a gunner's close quarter skill. Swiftly pursuing, Cold Mist and Steamed Bun Invasion were caught off guard, stumbling from the blow. However, this skill didn't force a knockdown, and with their skill, both players instantly regained their footing. Lord Grim had already charged over by then, drawing his sword and unleashing a mountain breaker strike straight at him. Just as Tuoya was straightening up from his spinning kick, he was instantly hacked back into a crouch. Wincom Smoke's charged laser cannon shot out at that very moment. Toya was pinned to the ground once more. He rose with a ground, shaking stump, unleashing a shockwave. Yet Lord Grim did not retreat. He drew his sword in a parry, blocking the wave. As he slid back, a flash of sword light marked a draw sword slash. Toya was hit once more. Whether a draw sword slash could knock someone down depended on the situation. This particular strike only sent Toya staggering, but he used the momentum to launch himself into the air, spinning into a kick. The brawler's skill, Whirlwind Kick, Tuoba's legs were too short, but Lord Grim's spear was long. With a flick of Myriad Manifestation's umbrella into its spear form, he executed a circle sweep, slamming Toya back to the ground. After all, Soft Mist and Steamed Bun Invasion lacked experience. Toya's skills were a chaotic mix, somewhat similar to an unspecialized player. Even Team Tiny Herb, with all their experienced pro players, had trouble when facing an unspecialized opponent. Even with fewer skills than a chaotic brawler, Toya's varied arsenal was enough to make Tang Ru and Baozi hesitate and react too slowly. Take that earlier spinning kick, for instance. It caught them both off guard. But Ye Xiu understood no matter how varied Tuoya's skills were, they couldn't break free from Glory's established skill framework. For Ye Xiu, every skill was intimately familiar. His experience, his judgment, they shone through brilliantly in moments like these. What's more, Lord Grim was an unspecialized class with an even wider skill set. Though Tuoya had many skills, Ye Xiu always found a way to counter them. This was an advantage no ordinary class possessed. Each standard class has its own distinct style. Each has its own strengths, and of course, its own weaknesses. Take the gunner, for example, high attack power, longest range, but their close quarters combat is a complete mess, with almost no melee capability. For a gunner, failing to create distance is a sure path to death.